my friends, so I have started, as you can see, putting my Tourmalet together, and it's finally starting to look like a real bicycle. It's starting to look like a bicyclette. I don't have that much left to do, but I am not 100% done, and the main reason for that is I encountered a couple of issues which have delayed me, and that is pretty typical when you restore a vintage bike. Something unexpected is always going to happen. Also, I have not received all the parts I need, and hopefully that will resolve itself by next week, and I can show you the completed bike in my next episode. But in the meantime, let me take you on a little tour and do a show and tell of where I stand. So the two unexpected issues I had to deal with, which I was telling you about, is one, the stem wedge broke. So the metal was clearly fatigued, and when I tried to tighten it, it just literally split in half. But I was able to order and receive a new stem wedge, which I've installed, so that is resolved. The second thing is the thread at the top of the fork was actually damaged. I had not realized that when I was disassembling the bike, and it was so damaged that actually I could not engage the bolt. So I had to rethread it, which was a bit of a pain in the rear end, but that is also resolved. That's behind us. And as you can see, I've mounted the fork. The entire front of the bike is basically done. The cockpit is done. The only thing left to do is to put the handlebar tape, which is something that I always typically do last. There is absolutely nothing left to do with regard to the brakes. The brakes lever are mounted, the brake calipers, the cables, the housing, that is all taken care of. I have mounted the down tube shifters, the bottom bracket, the crank, and the pedals are all ready to go. That is all done. The wheels are custom built wheels. They are Velocity rims with Velo Orange hub. The rear wheel is a 36-spoke wheel. I have also mounted an 1134 cassette, trying to make the mountain of Italy a little easier. You will notice that it's missing the rear derailleur. And the reason for that is the derailleur that came with this bike is a short cage derailleur. And I'm afraid that with an 1134 cassette, that is simply not going to do. So I ordered a long cage derailleur, and that's the main part that I'm missing that is preventing me from wrapping up the assembly of this bike. The tires are Pirelli Cinturato, and there are two main reasons why I decided to go with the Pirelli Cinturato. First, I think that the dark brown sidewall look really sharp on this bike, but maybe even more important is the fact that they have a reputation as being extremely puncture resistant. And considering the amount of riding we'll be doing on gravel road, I thought that having tires with great puncture resistance was actually a necessity. The front derailleur is mounted, it's ready to go. I have not mounted the shifter cable. I am waiting, of course, to receive the rear derailleur to do that. But beside the rear derailleur, the chain, and the front wheel, which is no big deal, basically this bike is ready. So I hope that as soon as I get the rear derailleur, I should be able to complete this bike in short order. I know that some of you are going to say that an 1134 cassette does not look very vintage, and you are absolutely right. However, considering that there are about 10,000 feet of ascent at l'Eroica Montalcino, I am more than willing to trade a little bit of vintage look for a more mountain-friendly gearing. So beside the derailleur, which I am still waiting to receive, those are the parts left for me to install. You can see the stickers, the chain, the shifter cables, the handlebar tape, the front tire, and the front wheel. This bike is as new as it ever was. It has new bearings, new brake pads. Absolutely every worn out part has been replaced. And on top of that, I'm very pleased with the result. I don't know what you think, but I think this bike looks just amazing. And if it rides as beautifully as it looks, this is going to be one fun bike to ride in Italy. And that is all I have for you in this episode, my friends. So hopefully by next week, I will have received the rear derailleur. I will have been able to complete this bike. and maybe, weather permitting, we can go on a little spin together around the neighborhood and check it out. Be well and see you next week.